Okay, welcome back. And this is probably going to be just a short one. I want to go over some more scripting and just touch on variables. So we have everything hard-coded now for the position, right? We've hard-coded vector2 and a vector2 here. So let's put these into variables. And GDScript, a variable, starts with the keyword var. And then all you have to do is name the var. Okay, so let's just call this POS for position, and we'll set it equal to a vector2 200 by 200. Okay, and this setting the variable up this way, GDScript can infer data types. Okay, so a lot of scripting languages you have to put what type of data this is that the variable accepts. But in GDScript, you don't have to. You can just say var and then name the var, and then you could put an integer here. You could put the vector here. You could put a string here, whatever you want. And GDScript is smart enough to infer that this data type is a vector2. So then we could replace here with POS, and we should get starting here 200 by 200 and going down. So it's the same. All we did was we're using a variable now. And that allows us to come in and say on the fly, either by you or something in the game can adjust this variable now. So it doesn't have to stay 200 by 200. POS can equal a vector2, say 20 by 20. And that'll start closer to the top here. Okay. Now, there's two ways to do variables. There's the inferred way, and then there is the statically typed. And so we can say position colon, and we say this has to be a vector2, okay? Now we have to put a vector2 in here. If we get rid of the vector2 and put an integer, it's going to scream at us. It's going to throw an error. It doesn't like that. And this is good programming practice, because if you make sure that you explicitly say this data type, this variable has to have the data type of a vector2. Later on when we're using this, if we reassign it to an integer or a double, and we're getting errors in our program, we may not realize that that has to be a vector2, okay? So that'll just help us debug our program and make sure we're doing everything consistently, and we don't get any headaches later on where we're trying to figure out what in the world's going wrong, and it's all just because we put the wrong data type into a variable. So I'm going to say vector2. I'm going to go with a vector2. And let's just do our 200. Vectors are nice too. I believe there is a method. So if we wanted to make that 0, 0, we could do vector2 dot 0. And that basically just means inside these parentheses. How do we make a comment? Is that a comment? Yeah, there we go. That's a comment. And a comment, so let me just explain what a comment is. A comment is like these things here. It's code that you can read, but the computer does not read. So it's just something for you to identify and understand your code, come back later. You know, it's good to have good notes. So it's a note-taking system. So basically this would be 0, 0. That's what this means, okay? And then obviously we can reassign it later on. So down here we can say same thing. We could use POS, and we could just say POS is equal to a vector2 1, 1. So we should see the same thing. And something else I'd like to show you. So if we don't want to use a vector2, you can grab the individual values for the transform. So if we come to 2D, we go on player, and we look at the transform of it. Let's see. I need to go into the player scene on the image, and then here's your transform. So position, there's an X and there's a Y. So we can access each one of these individual as well. Okay. So if we go back into the script, we can say position.x or position.y. And add, say, Now we can't use the vector on this one because it's just asking for one of the two, okay, right? So we wouldn't use position anymore, POS. We would use, an integer. So we could say 6 or 4. So position X 4. So this thing is going to go to the right 4 pixels at a time. Let's erase that. Let's click play. There's your 4 pixels at a time. So you're just coming across the screen. So you're just adding 4 pixels to the position. So if the position.x is at 0, the first time the frame runs, it says +4, right? Now you're 4. Then it says +4 again. Now you're 8. So you're adding 4 pixels every time, and that's how you're getting the movement. On every single frame rate, you're just adding 4 to the position. And what else do I want to go over? I think that's it. Oh, let's talk about constants. So a constant would be with const, okay? That's a constant. So if you plan to make a variable, which is not variable anymore, if it's a constant, you could say constant speed equals 10, okay? So now this cannot be changed. So if we come down here and we say speed equals 23, it should throw an error at us because we said, hey, store this variable, store this number into this, but don't allow us to change it. And that's good because sometimes you want to set the speed, and you want to know, it's hard to know, okay, if you put here 4, right? What is 4? Well, I don't know. But if you know that it's the speed, it's more readable. Now we can click play. Oh, gotta get rid of this first. Okay, so let's stop and play. So there's your speed 10. So constants just hold data and allow you to not change it. It makes it constant, and variables allow you to change the data within the program. And you can do constant, you can do the same thing as well. So we can come in here and give it a colon and say this is an int. And now we can't put a decimal place in here, we can't put a vector. We know that this has to be an integer of 10. All right, so if you have any questions, reach out, say something in the comments. Hopefully this is making sense. And if you want me to go over something in particular or specific, just let me know. All right, so I'll try and put out maybe another 1 or 2 videos, maybe today or tomorrow. They probably won't be long ones. I'm going to do a few short ones here now, and then we'll get into a longer one again next weekend. Okay? All right, and see you guys later, and we'll see you in the next video.